What's up everyone, my name is Melissa Makak and this is Teach the Teach, where I teach you how to teach a board game, and in this video, I'll be covering 7 Wonders Duel. Now for the purposes of this video, I am assuming that your opponent has never played 7 Wonders before. If they have, you could skip over some of the things that I cover in here. But if they haven't, we could get started. Now the way I teach rules is I make sure players are playing as quickly as possible. And I typically start off with telling them the story behind the game, why they're doing this in the first place. And for this, it's to build a civilization. Awesome. Then I go into the objective of how to win, and then letting them know how the game ends. This way they have a full foundation of how the game works as a whole. Then I go right into how to actually achieve victory points within the game, letting them know about these. So now I'm explaining some symbology here, letting them know if you ever see this symbol with a number in the middle, that number means you're going to get that many victory points at the end of the game. Then I also let them know about the science victory and the military victory. So the science victory, by the way, I have all these cards set out beforehand for them, that way I could show them quickly. So letting them know about these 6 different symbols, if you ever have them in your civilization, you get that science victory. And then I also let them know about the military victory in terms of the shields, moving this little pawn here along the progress track. Cool, so now they know some of the ways they could win this game, and they could get right into playing by you dealing out the 4 wonders and letting them start to draft. Now, whichever 4 wonders you've laid out, I would start to explain, okay, what all these cards mean, what do they do, what sort of benefit do they give you? And I also try to make it a point to explain the symbology a little bit, that way they could start to catch on. So now they've already started playing, which is awesome. Then I set out the whole age 1 table of cards, and I start to tell them what 3 actions they could take on their turn in terms of taking the card to put in their civilization or building their wonder. By the way, this is when I let them know you can only have 7 wonders out on the table. So if you've built 4, I can only build 3 and vice versa. And the last thing they could do is discard the card and take 2 coins for every 1 and plus 1 for every yellow card they have in their civilization. I also then let them know how to actually take these cards, right? What's available to them, how do things become available. If they've ever played card games like 13 or Pyramid or whatever, then this would be all very familiar to them, which would be really cool. At this point, I start to explain the cost of each of these cards for them. So I pick up whichever card is already available to them, and I just say, hey, so the left side is always the cost of the card. I let them know it might be a resource, it could be coins perhaps, or maybe you have a linking symbol, and start to explain that, having the linking symbols, okay? This will then explain what the brown cards do and the gray cards do, because now they know, okay, those are resources and they just allow my civilization to get more and more cards. I would also stress the fact that you do not actually spend these resources. They stay in your civilization, they're just prerequisites for building new cards. Cool. And they'll already know what the blue and the green cards do, because you already told them, hey, blue cards, they have those victory symbols. Awesome. And they know about the science cards because it's one of the victories. The only thing you haven't told them yet is about the doubles, if you match the 2 symbols together. At that point, I just let them know you could get these progress tokens that are on the progress track. I don't explain what each of these progress tokens do, because that would just take up a lot of time, but they could use the help sheet that is included in the box here, right? And it's super helpful. And I just let them take a look at it whenever maybe I'm taking my turn, trying to think, okay, what do I want to do? They could look at it to see what they might be trying to go for. Okay. Now, if any red cards are face up on the table, or whenever they become face up, that's when I start to explain a little bit more in depth of how the shields work in progressing your shield token along the progress track. I also let them know about the thresholds and what sort of benefits they get when they pass those certain thresholds. Now you have to tell them about the yellow cards, and the yellow cards can be a little tricky because they have all sorts of different special abilities, different symbologies, and it could be a little overwhelming for players. So what I do is I explain them as they become available to the opponent to take. So either they're available or if they're going to become available based on what card they're about to take. For example, so if it looks like something like this, and if they were to take this card and this becomes available, I would also let them know what this means in case they don't want to have this available for me. You don't want them to feel like they've been duped over, like, oh, I didn't know what that meant, okay? So there's that. Now, if they really want to know what all the yellow cards on the table mean, again, you could just refer them to the help sheet and they could take a look at it while maybe you're taking your turn, okay? And that's just to move things along and help them to get playing as quickly as possible. I use that same method for the guild cards that happen in age 3. Now at this point, you could just start playing. You could just start taking the cards and whatever, and you're explaining as things are going on. And then once the round is finally over, you tell them who gets to go first or how it gets decided who goes first. And then that's pretty much everything they need to know about playing Seven Wonders Duel. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, or if you have other ways that you like to teach Seven Wonders Duel, please let us know. Let's start a little discussion on how everybody teaches Seven Wonders Duel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.